Welcome to the Tech on Toast podcast. We are the home of hospitality tech. Whether you're an operator wanting to untangle your tech or a technology provider wanting to join our community, we are the largest hospitality tech growth platform on the planet. The Tech on Toast podcast is brought to you today by Lightspeed. Lightspeed is the EPOS and payments platform that will help you scale your business at the speed of light. Trusted by over 170,000 businesses worldwide, including Big Mama, Mildred's, Mallow, and Cubit House. Lightspeed seamlessly connects to an ecosystem of integrated solutions such as OpenTable, Xero, Muse, and many more. Are you ready to take your hospitality business to the next level? With the Lightspeed unified platform, customers can shave seconds off each transaction and increase tips. Need a little support modernizing your tech stack? No problem. Want to scale your business? Get fast funding with Lightspeed Capital. No hidden fees or interest charges. Eligibility criteria and terms and fees apply. Get your demo today at www.lightspeedhq.co.uk/Tech on Toast. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to the next episode of the Tech on Toast podcast. And today I'm joined by Tommy Giraux, head of systems at Honest Burger. Tommy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Actually, Tommy Tech. That's your name, isn't it?
Oh, God.
We renamed you Tommy Tech when we met you at HRC. But anyway. How are you? You look very refreshed and well.
Just freshly back from my time off in south of France. I spent some time near Saint-Tropez.
Stop rubbing it in.
No, I was glamping, so it's not as prestigious as it sounds.
You know your picture on LinkedIn, is that a new picture?
No.
Is that like a holiday pic where you've got like the side-on profile?
That's a picture from a lovely trip to the Maldives. But we're not here to talk about my travels, are we?
It might be more interesting, I don't know. And as you can see, Tommy has the most infectious laugh ever, so we could be here for a while. Right, look, Tommy, you've let's talk a little about you first before we talk about what you do at Honest Burger.
Great.
So your little journey so far through hospitality. You're a family man now. How many? Have you got one or two kids?
One for now. One for now.
Have you lost one or one somewhere in the airport? So one, and you've grown up in the industry, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Started working in the industry back in France in the early days, back when I was 16, 17, so I could pay for my car, I could pay for my motorbike. Then I moved to UK in 2007 and started working for Costa Coffee. Quickly became manager there for a couple of years. And it was a residential area, so same people every day.
All came to see Tommy for his coffee.
It was great coffee, but I got really bored after a year or so.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I got hooked up on the hospitality kind of vibe. So I looked for more like table service, and this is where I started working for Itsu at the time. Itsu had restaurants.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, yeah, I'm old enough to know this.
There you go. 4 restaurants, and I've helped to open the Notting Hill Gate branch. That was the flagship.
West London, mate, it's the best.
Yeah. Massive place. Cocktail bar upstairs. Our own delivery at the back.
Nice.
3 conveyor belts with fresh sushi going around, and retail at the front. So I got a little bit of retail, a bit of delivery, a bit of bar, a bit of restaurant experience.
It was all part of your future.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And about 10 years ago, I moved to Honest Burgers, where I became their first ops manager, which I've done for about 7 years. And during COVID, I moved to a more tech project related role, which I've been doing for the last 3.5 years now.
It's mad. And I suppose, what do you love most about what you do, or the industry in general? Because what did you train in? What did you do at school? What were you going to be?
Oh, well, it's nothing related. So it sounds fancy, but it's not as fancy. I've done a business school in Paris for 3 years to get my master's degree in business management, and I can't remember. It's something related to marketing and communication, ultimately. But
I didn't do that.
But by the time I moved to UK, it pretty much meant nothing, and I had to pay the bills, and I started to work for. I love
the fact that you were funding your motorbike through Costa Coffee. So, what bike did you get?
Oh no, it's embarrassing. It was back in France. It was not in UK.
Like a little moped.
But it was an old man's bike, because I was commuting from the Parisian suburb into Paris to work at the time. So it was a Honda Deauville. It's ugly as shit. I mean,
I'm definitely going to get that image thrown up on it.
But it was reliable and cheap at the time. So
I'm happy that you were happy. It's
did
good.
the job.
And as I was talking about, what I suppose, what drew you into, obviously the money is readily available with little or no training, right, in hospitality. You can kind of get on straight away. But what do you love most about it? You've been in it for, 15 years?
17 altogether.
I was trying to make you young. But
No, that's fine. I just turned 40, so I assume it.
you're looking good, mate. 40.
I look forward to go all grey. I can't wait.
Yeah, I've got that going on, yeah.
It's addictive and it's
Yeah.
never boring. It's also brittle
Yeah.
in many ways.
Yeah, you have to be kind of sick, don't you? I think, sorry, not sick, but there's definitely, I don't know, there's a type of person that lasts in hospitality.
I think that's what you said is key, that lasts.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people make their hospitality their first job.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of the best school when you start working. You get to work with people, you get to work in a team, you get, it's a bit strong. You get to do, some stupid antisocial hours and things like that. But and you learn how to deal with customers, you learn how to manage a restaurant, how to set up a restaurant and things like that. So you learn, routine, and you learn to be consistent in what you're doing, and you learn standards. And if you work in a kitchen, you learn food standards and things like that. But for those that enjoy it, I think it's still one of the best platform to grow extremely fast. If you really
100%.
want to, the opportunities are out there, and everyone is struggling with staff retention and things like that.
It's
so for
crazy,
those that
isn't
want to
it?
stay and grow,
Yeah.
it's there, and you can grow really fast.
I think you have to kind of ride out that middle. There's a little pain point, isn't it, in your career in hospitality, where when you're going from like waiter or server through to manager, and then there's that little bit between manager and operations manager where you're like, I'm never going to be one. Everybody else is getting picked before me. But now I feel like there's an opportunity to kind of jump up quickly.
Well, 100%, but also getting to ops is not where it all ends and everything gets easy. It gets worse. Like my ops years, I struggled to even keep a partner, a girlfriend, or anything as such. I had so many ultimatums and things like that, because you end up. You end up having to work some crazy hours.
Yeah.
It's a 7 days operation, so you have to be available 7 days a week ultimately to support your teams and to fix things when shit happens.
Yeah.
I can swear on that.
Well, you have done twice, so you may as well carry on.
Sorry, Spotify.
So I have a little box, a little Tommy box I click when people swear a lot. Explicit this episode.
But he pays. I don't know. It's an addiction, and I've done that. I've done that intensively for 7 years as an ops, doing some stupid hours, waking up at 4:30 in the morning because I wanted to be with the teams during the day. So I would do all my paperwork, all my figures, reviewing all the reports in the morning. When no one is actually contacting me, and then from 9 o'clock onwards, I will be in the restaurants actually talking to the team. I didn't want to be a laptop manager.
I love that, and do you know what? I think I did exactly the same, but the other way around. I used to work
At night.
through the day. With the teams, do nothing because you couldn't, and then get home, feed the kids, feed the wife, walk the dog, and about 9 o'clock.
You mean the wife was feeding you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. By the time I got to 40, mate, I was like getting spoon fed anyway. But like at about 9 o'clock or I remember at 9:30 she'd go to bed probably, and I'd probably sit there till midnight just doing. And I'm not moaning about it. I actually enjoyed that time. I kind of because I enjoyed my job, so I like kind of tapping away, just getting my stuff done. That meant I wasn't being distracted the day after. So shout out to all those people because there's thousands right like us who are doing that, or were doing that. I think you're legends, and may you all continue to be legends. And you've joined a company now, and I wrote this down, the darling of the industry. Do you like that? Honest Burger. If Phil was here, he would agree. This is a darling of the industry. But it's one of those brands, right, that everyone resonate, kind of goes towards because it's got that kind of unique independent feel, and it's kind of kept it as far as it's grown, which I think is really and really hard to do. I remember when I was at Prime Minister, we were kind of a similar type feel, kind of this kind of street brand that's gone into a bricks and mortar, and it's kind of cool. What was it like joining them, and how do you think it's changed over the years?
Every time you mentioned Prime Minister at the beginning, I heard Prime Minister.
I know, mate. I've been on my CV on
so
LinkedIn.
I was really confused with your background.
I'm actually better than Rishi Sunak, just for the note. Vote for Fletch.
Well, that indie feel is what attracted me in the early days.
Because you're French, right? And in France, they don't have any chains, right? Well, they have some, but it's mostly independent, right?
Yeah. It's
Was that a
mostly-
really racist thing I just said? You're French, we like independent restaurants, that's it.
No, I think it's pretty cool. It's also pretty relevant. I think we got more chains now nowadays,
Oh, that's
and
sad.
things.
It's sad though, isn't it?
Well, no, we are a chain technically. Honest Burger is a chain. We got 39 locations.
no,
we are a chain. We don't feel like
I meant
we
France.
are. But,
That feel of like mum and pop type restaurants and kind of just.
oh, those
rocking
are
up.
still there.
Yeah.
Those are still there. I'm more talking about Paris
Okay.
and the more like wider region. But what attracted me, obviously, when I joined is that Tom and Phil, the co-founders, were very hands-on back in the days. It was the head office team was tiny. It was like 5-6 people really, and they all had multiple hats, which everyone does when you start growing your chain. So Phil was in charge of operations, but he was also in charge of anything related to HR and anything related to people management in general. And Tom was looking after the food side, but also anything related to marketing. But none of them had really much training in all of that.
that's
So
the
they
best,
just end up
I love that though.
into it. And then as we started growing, as I joined, they had 3. Then as I actually started my role, they had 5. I've opened site number 6, and then shortly after, 6 months after I joined, I moved up as an ops manager. 39.
Wow.
39, and 840 employees today. So no, it's been a crazy journey.
I love that. I know. I think they're great, and I think at that period of time when there was quite a few exciting brands, and I think more and more so now, right? I think the industry seems to be embracing. I think because of delivery and because of the omni-channel nature of the business, that you can reach customers through different ways, through dark kitchens, whatever it might be. It's kind of exciting time, I think, for the industry. Although there's still some huge headwinds we're all facing. And I want to talk to you about tech, because that is your job, Tommy Tech.
It's also
If they
my
don't
brand
change,
now.
if they don't change your like a little emoji of you with Tommy Tech on your email footer, I'll be sad. How do you think it's changed, I suppose, in your period of time? Not just actually honest, but before that, how do you think tech's kind of incorporated its way into hospitality? And is it proving a benefit, or is it proving a bit of a hindrance? Where do you sit on it? Because obviously you buy it, install it, but you also used it, for
Maintain
many
it,
years,
change
right?
it.
Yeah. How does it affect? How do you feel it's affecting the business?
I think when I started, tech was more a bit of a necessity, and second thought, say, okay, we need an e-post, let's just get an e-post. Okay, we need something to manage our inventory or to place the orders, let's just do it. And then but it was like anyone when you start, when you start a company, when you start a restaurant business, you just start with spreadsheets. It's just Excel or Google Sheets everywhere, and you do all your reporting on that, and then you start opening more locations. You try to get a reconciliation of your reporting into one, so it's multiple spreadsheets that fit into a main one, and then at some point someone will go and delete a formula. It will just fuck up everything. So I went through the pain of having those very sophisticated whatever.
Yeah, don't worry, we got that one.
We'll leave that one
I'm
out.
not going to take any of this out. I think it's good.
Those fancy spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And then quickly you realize that you spend more time actually entering the data into these reports than actually using the data, making a decision out of it. So one thing that tech has supported is saving a lot of time in first integrating those data and those platforms together. So you enter that data once and it fits through the other platforms, which is what you want. And also helping you to make decisions out of that data. So giving you some insights or some trends and giving you some dashboards that really...
It's crazy. How did we used to do it back in the day? I was
you
thinking...
would just sit down and wake up at 4:30 in the morning and make sense of all the reports that you have. You would use your brain, basically.
I was at Ask Restaurants, and I'm showing my age now, in 2000, right? 2000 sounds like recently to me, but it's actually not. It's 25 years ago now, which is
crazy.
Mental.
2 decades ago, yeah.
Yeah, and I was the first... Okay, thank you. It was the first... I was the first GM in the North at Liverpool, and we opened many, many restaurants, and someone was asking me how you used to communicate. And I was thinking, and what they used to do, they used to send a printed... So if the recipe changed, they'd print it in head office in St Albans, and then they'd post it to Liverpool. I had a little file in my office, which was a cupboard. And in my cupboard office, I used to print off I used to take my thing out the envelope, hole punch it, and put it in the folder and put it back up on the shelf, and no one ever read it. But it just shows how backward we were. And we didn't have tech, so there wasn't any other way. But the shift in change, especially when you've got multiple sites and being able to success model something that's going well and honest and be able to replicate it in other sites is such a huge benefit, isn't it, compared to where we were even maybe 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, but it comes with the downside. Now that you can push the information much faster, it's a bit of an overkill of information, and
data waterboarding.
Yeah, you never. Even when you push, company communications, you never show that it really lands because unless you have a very strict routine where you only push communication on that specific day of the week or through that specific process, if it's a drip feed through the whole week, people just miss out on very important information.
So maybe my posting was better.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was this dusty file on the shelf. It never got read. It never got read. The area managers used to come in and go, how the hell do we know this one? Because it's on a folder in the office that no one ever goes in. But yeah.
Well, that was the only thing they had to read at the time, right? So, no excuses.
We were in Liverpool, mate. We didn't read a lot. But it is interesting, isn't it, how humans, you've got to have that match of brilliant humans alongside brilliant tech. I don't think you can have one without the other to make it work efficiently. And you've had some fantastic people work in your team, in your head office team and around you.
We still have.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm saying like you're closed. But just people I've met along the way who've worked at Honest, who still work at Honest, who are great, apart from you. But yeah, so... I knew this would be a problem. You're a problem podcast. But having great people alongside great tech is the point, isn't it?
Correct.
Thanks. Glad to make that. Look, and I've got a really interesting stat. I was reading McKinsey because I'm a very well-read man, and they famously quoted that 70% of transformation projects fail. So you're rolling out new pods right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Technology sector industry analyst Gartner says worst in digital transformation estimates 80% of organizations seeking to scale digital businesses will fail in 2025. Look at me bringing the joy. But why do you think that change is more difficult with tech? Because change is difficult anyway, right?
It's not just tech.
Yeah, but we'll focus on what you do.
Yeah.
But why do you think it's more difficult, and how are you trying to navigate that to make it a little bit easier for you and what you do in terms of rolling out a new pause, for instance?
Well, if I was to tell you I've got it all sorted and I've got a secret recipe, I would be lying. I'm still learning as I go, and I still make mistakes and learn from the previous rollout that we've done. But people don't like change in general. They're naturally reluctant to change. So they need to understand first why the change, why are we changing this specific system, what you're going to gain from it, and why is it aligned with the company goals or the visions we have with growth and things like that. So first giving this change a specific purpose. So I think the key is probably communication first.
100%.
Secondly, you need to get some stakeholders or some champions in the mix as well that will help you to support that project. If you have the key stakeholders into each department, they can be your almost salesperson to some extent.
I agree. Yeah.
If they're part of the selection process and they all love it, they will spread the positivity already about the. Look
at this new pause.
Well, exactly. Well, not just pause, but anything.
Obsessing with pause.
It's fine. I love pause too. And having champions that you got into the process in very early days, so having GMs and even having chief managers or even waiters to some extent, part of the process, giving their feedback, helping with the selection, that then are part of the pilots. Those guys will help.
It has to be circular, right? Doesn't it? It has to be like circular, that the guys on the ground are feeding back, because probably the reason you're changing. Let's use pause again, for instance. Probably the reason you're changing that is because you've had feedback from the ground, or maybe there's a head office issue, or maybe whatever's gone on that you decided that the business is going in a different direction. So you need something new. And the same when you put something new in, right? That the problem we said we were going to fix is now being fixed, or we're finding new opportunities. And that the only way you can understand that is by communicating with the team, right?
Yeah, and it's also only been fixed if it's been used properly in the first place. So that kind of takes me to the second part. Training is probably one of the most important and more difficult part of rolling out a new system. Because when you buy from a vendor, they don't really train your team. They kind of train the trainer, and then it's kind of your...
Yeah, they train you, and then
it's your problem.
Sorry, tech providers. I'm sure it's not see you later.
So,
the hand-holding stops a little bit, right?
Kind of. And usually training material that they provide is fairly weak. So most of the time, and 99% of the time, I end up doing my own training materials. Yeah. And I've gone through very different...
But is that probably required anyway, though, because because you want to kind of put it in your voice, in your brand,
Exactly.
and as you said, make sense to the people that it's being delivered to. Because it's hard for the tech provider, I suppose, to say, oh God, we've got to make sure we adapt this totally for Honest Burger to make sure we hit all their values, hit their core messaging. I mean, I don't know. Maybe do you expect that or not?
It's not. Yes and no. I think it's you would expect to have some kind of resources and support resources that you can go back to, and some short how-to videos. But most of the time, the support section of any provider is pretty enough. I mean, it's.
That's good. No, but
it's hard to find what you're looking for. It's hard to get much out of it. And if it's a long text that you have to read in the middle of a shift, no one's going to bother.
Well, this is interesting because we're building something called the Crust Council. Bear with me here. Crust as in bread. See where I'm going? Mm-hmm. Right. And that it's like a customer...
Like a French baguette.
Yes, we want to go the French route, but I'd have you and Nicole from Paris. Nicole?
Like a pizza.
Yeah. But so we're building almost an industry customer advisory board for tech. We'll invite you on it, Tommy. I think you'd be an important part.
Look forward to
so
it.
We're going to meet every quarter, but we're going to talk about exactly that what you just spoke about, saying sometimes when I go and look for support, it's just not there. Or what I'm searching for is taking too long to find, and therefore I end up fixing it myself. Because what operators will always do is find a quicker route to the problem. Because that's what we do, right? That's our nature, to fix problems. And I think that's not right when you've paid for a service, that you should have that right. So we're creating this customer advisory board where we can help the tech providers understand what problems there are out there and help them fix things quicker. That was a sidebar. That I just wanted to go there, and now I'm going to come back into what you were talking about. So carry on. After your training, where are we going?
I think just defining the training. How do we train? In the first place, do you just do online sessions when everyone join and watch you, clicking around your screen and things like that? It doesn't work for everyone.
No.
And how do you get that training accessible after you've trained people? So
So do you go on site then and do that with? Will you spend time on site? I know you can't go everywhere; it's crazy. But
you'd be surprised.
Actually, you're working at 4 a.m. You could do, couldn't you?
Not anymore. I've got a kid now.
Sure, that's 3 a.m. then.
Yeah, it used to be. No, it's kind of a mix that I'm doing nowadays. So I'm doing in-person training sessions where I invite people to head office.
Right.
So because some people like to see real person.
I'm one of those people.
And I give them an opportunity if they want to actually touch the tech and try it for themselves. I do online sessions for those that can't move, and then as a follow-up, I've got snippets of training. So I've learned over the years that doing a long video that you share or doing long written training.
I create a lot of content. Anything over, no one watches it.
Anything that takes more than 30 seconds to read, no one's going to read it in the first place.
Yeah.
People don't have time, and you have to think people are in the middle of a shift. So do people in the middle of a shift that are looking for an answer are going to watch a video with sound and with a maybe they don't have connection or anything like that. So recently I've been using Scribe actually.
I like Scribe.
It's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. So I've broken down almost all my training into like 40 different tiny sections, almost anything that I would expect someone to search online. I don't know, how to do discount or something like that. And you get a snippet of a 30 seconds read. Go here, click there,
like TikTok.
off you're done. Exactly. Now you make
Tommy Talk.
Tommy Talk. Yeah. So, funny enough, I just had a meeting with Jonah from
Oh,
Land.
bloody Bland, he's there again, is he? But that's exactly the way it should be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Short, sweet, straight to the point.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's what people want.
Yeah,
so
very cool.
getting the information you want straight away to you. And I think with AI, we'll be able to get even further.
Oh, can I ask you about AI then while you're on it?
Yeah.
It's not on my list of questions.
I've tried to bring AI to Honest Burgers, but I almost had a heart attack when I heard about the cost.
Really?
Yeah, I recently spoke with I'm not going to mention name. They're great, but they're very expensive. A Swedish company that was trying to get their AI product to integrate with Workplace. RIP, because Workplace. But I don't know.
600,000 users in the UK in hospitality.
Yeah,
apparently.
we're part of them.
Oh, yeah,
so that's been added to my roadmap.
Yeah. I was going to say.
And
I've got some friends who want to talk to you.
I've been.
Are they already talking to you?
I've been a lot of people that have been reaching out lately.
Well, it's a great opportunity, right? Obviously, it's something that's changing, and I think that. That comms piece, as you've talked about already, actually is really important. So getting that right. There's a company, I don't know if you know them. I don't know if I should bring it up. Have you heard of All Gravy?
I heard it through your podcast, I think.
Really? Yeah, check him out. Quite interesting. I just I met him because he's from Sweden, so I thought.
It was not those
No,
guys.
it's interesting, but he's a comms platform and does other bits. But it looked really interesting. I quite really like these kind of like these really fun startups. I'm not sure they're always perfect for people of your size, but I think
we like to take risks.
Yeah, because I think they're
yeah.
interesting, right? Because you can work with them
Exactly.
a bit more, and they can be a bit more bespoke for you. So I'm sorry, I'm probably putting words in his mouth. Jonathan's probably listening, going, "What are you saying?" But I just thought their platform was really interesting. But anyway, but they're a comms platform, and they're great. And you just said you're not afraid of tech.
No.
And honest, you've tried lots, haven't you, over the years? What I suppose you said you learnt from some of your earlier rollouts and stuff you've done and didn't go so well. Why do you think some of the other operators are resistant around putting technology in certain areas, and why do you think you're a bit more forward thinking? And it's not saying, I'm not criticizing anyone here, I'm just trying to say that some companies tend to take more, I suppose it is a risk, isn't it? Because you are effectively putting your trust in a piece of technology that might not deliver. You just don't know because you haven't tested it yet, and you can't really test it until it's out in the wild. So yeah, why do you think Honest Burger have been more forward thinking?
Oh, thanks for thinking. We are forward thinking in the first place.
Well, yes. Dub Lee told me you were forward thinking.
I think the ultimate goal was always to try to make our people's life easier.
Yeah.
As I said, early days, duplicated data, having to enter the same figure in multiple spreadsheets and things like that. How can we unify all that and just have one source of truth? Because then what you end up is multiple also databases and source of truth, and then you have things that are not synced together, and it just becomes but actually you spend more time keeping things up to date than anything. So I think if you know the problem you have and you go out on market and you try to solve that problem specifically, it's key. Bringing tech doesn't solve all the issues. No. It's not because your neighbors are using a specific platform and it works for them that it will work for you. So I think understanding your pain points in the first place, understanding your needs, understanding your non-negotiable that are proper to your brand, proper to your culture, proper to your values, and build a specific list of requirements so you don't go out and just watch at demos and, oh yeah, it's nice and shiny, let's bring it in.
Sounds like that's definitely how I would buy. Oh, pretty.
Oh, everyone is talking about those guys. Let's just get it.
Yeah.
No,
it's very clever, isn't it? I think from a marketing standpoint, from a tech provider way, it feels like in hospitality, if you're part of the group or the community, that you can actually win do a bit of a land grab quite quickly because people are like that. I did a survey ages ago. I always talk about it. 82% of operators said they buy from their mates. You just mentioned
people don't have time.
Yeah.
Like if you're an operator, you don't.
What happens if your mate's wrong?
Exactly. Yeah, and then those things takes time. To talk to vendors, to go through demos, to ask loads of questions, to build your requirements and things like that. When you're operating, many restaurants, and this is not your top priority.
Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, you have to run your restaurants, you have to keep restaurants safe, you have to keep your teams happy, you have to make sure your restaurants are fully staffed, they're profitable, and all that kind of stuff. So, not everyone has the chance to have a Tommy Tech that do those things.
Everyone should get one, but especially if it's trademarked. But how has that scale changed? I think the dip, and so saying that obviously tech isn't a priority, but how much more of a priority is it coming if you could percentagize it, I suppose, just in your experience because is your role 100% tech?
Pretty much.
Systems.
Yeah. Systems in general. Yeah.
Because that's what, think about that, right? 10 years ago, you wouldn't exist. No offense, but but you.
I was born 10 years ago.
But I'd say your role, you probably eat 10 hours a week out of it, right? But now you're full time.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, I think with everything going digital, especially with the push through the COVID period, the whole QR code era. And
QR codes are back, baby.
Yeah, QR codes are great if they use properly. They shouldn't replace someone.
It's another podcast. But it just shows a thing that was dead. QR codes were gone, and the people that use them well, I think, are fantastic, right? And they really help to a service experience when you want to do it yourself. I love the fact I can control my own destiny in a restaurant if I want to.
100%.
But anyway, it's as I said, another conversation. But I think it's been really interesting. I think roles like yours, and I was talking to Brendan Kelly from JKS, who was the same role as you, I think, head of projects. Yeah. And I think that role is becoming more common, and that shows us that actually what's happening in tech world is we know it because look at the amount of vendors, right? They wouldn't be here for no reason. And it shows that space is growing and growing. When you buy, how long does that take? So if you're buying EPOS, what does it look like in a time span? I know it's hard to give me an exact answer.
No. I would say it would take between 3 to 6 months to be in a position where
from starting the process to buying or rolling out?
To actually to buying.
Right.
I mean, it depends. Now with experience, I've already have contacts and I've already went through lots of demos, so I can figure that process much faster. Pushing your brand out there.
It's my podcast.
No, absolutely. I would say if you want to do it properly, you have to look at 6 months as a minimum. Probably 2 to 3 months to actually source the vendor and sign the contract and things like that. And as a minimum, 3 months to kind of implement, set up, and then push it out.
And do you have a set process? Do you follow the same kind of procedure that you would for any vendor, whether it be POS or workforce management, or do you kind of follow the same process? Will you share what it is, or you?
Pretty much. Well, I think I've touched on it a bit earlier. So the key first is to understand what is the problem. So what we're trying to solve. So that becomes, kind of put them on the wall. And this is from the moment we get away from that, it means that we're going into the wrong direction. Then it's understanding what are the requirements. So what are the things we currently have and we want to keep?
Yeah.
And what are the things we don't have and that we want in the next
like the red line.
platform.
Where do we not want to cross?
Exactly. So once I've built a requirement list, usually I start going out to the market. So I speak to fellow partners in the industry, understand who they're using and so on.
Always never far away.
Understand whether they're happy or not, and things like that. Things like your podcast helps as well to
Thanks, man. I'll make sure I do it in 30-second clips from now on, though. So I just found out you don't listen. But yeah.
And then generally go out on the market and look for vendors. Google Capterra and all this kind of specialized websites.
It's interesting. Use Capterra because there's so much information
with a pinch of
gathered.
salt, Capterra.
But I'm saying, but it's an interesting review site where you can go and look at things. What about trade shows? Do you? I know we met at one obviously recently.
We did.
But do you use that? Is it kind of turn your badge around and just have a wander around and see what's out there, or are you going to look at a supplier particularly?
No, I don't really go there to look. I'm just checking
browsing.
What else is out there.
Window shopping.
Yeah, pretty much. Just nurture my curiosity and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys, I heard about them. Let's go and check them out. Meet people that I already know or make new connections and things like that. Exactly, that's what we met.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think a lot of people are going there to window shop.
I just find it interesting. It's kind of like it feels like it's a networking deal that
mostly, yeah, and you end up having a fairly limited kind of selection as well.
Apart from I think the last Tech Expo had 25 POS stands or something. That's a lot of POS.
Yes, a lot of POS. Yeah.
Even you who loves POS, that might be too much. Right, look, I don't want to take your time too much. If we could ask the tech guys to make something easier for you, what would you like?
I think demo platforms that are accessible to future potential customers. So you can try it for yourself, understand how it works, see if you would see yourself using it on a daily basis, see how easy it is to train someone on it. A bit like when you test a car before buying it and things like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to buy tech, isn't it, if you're not in because I find out when you're in a demo, you feel a bit under pressure, right? Because they're showing you their wares. They're excited because they're showing you what they've got to do, and they've done a bit of work on what your problems are, so they understand because you've given them 7 or 8 questions in advance. They know what they don't need to fix, but nothing like sitting there on your own,
exactly, and
in the dark of night,
Yep.
on your platform, going, I want to do this, I want to go there. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I used to be able to do that on my old one.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. I think that's really interesting. You did mention a product that allowed you to do this. Who was it? You were.
Recently did a project including Tenzo and Tenzo where
shout out Tenzo.
Shout out to Tenzo and Christian.
He's great. The only guest to arrive by slide, by the way, on this podcast. Episode number 4 or something. He literally came down the slide and went. And I was like, wow, that's an entrance. Great guy. But again, another tech guy with experience in operations. I think it shows in their product.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's really... and how many demos do you think you've done in your life? A lot.
I'm probably close to 100 by now. Yeah.
And how many have allowed you to do that on your own, like Tenzo did?
Probably,
on one hand?
And probably 4 or 5,
I think it's really interesting. That drive before you buy.
100%.
Hope the tech guys are listening.
It's basically, I mean, you keep mentioning EPOS.
I'm not obsessed with it.
Just being able to download the app and then have a kind of a virtual environment when you can pretend to place order, do discount, and transfer things. And, that just...
Because they have that internally, right? Because that's what they use to demo internally when they're testing.
But they usually don't want to share it.
Well, maybe they will after listening to you. Maybe they'll be on the phone going 25 pods companies going, right, you asked for it, here it is.
So that's one of the things that they can make easier. I think we touched on it earlier. So having a better training materials that you can actually use or actually inspire yourself.
So when you say that, you mean like something that's shareable, quick enough to be consumed?
Like a support section or like a training library section where you can go and type specific keywords or what you're after and get straight away the answer instead of getting videos that are nothing related to it or a long written article that also not or are dated because sometimes they don't keep it up to date with the new features and things like that. So most of the vendors training
like a Zendesk where you can kind of like Google I need this or video.
Yeah, I mean in ideal world you wouldn't want OpenAI but for tech and you just ask a question and it just brings you the exact thing you're looking after.
I think that's the thing, and it's getting to the point because the problem with ops is you haven't got time to fish through 25 different variations of the word broken. You just need to fix the integration between the POS and the PDQ, for instance. Okay, cool, very cool. Anything else would you like?
Yeah,
it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
Yeah, so being more transparent about your pricing, please. Because it's usually always the same thing. You end up going through loads and loads of demos, and then they want to talk about the price, and they ask you loads of questions, and you end up spending 5 or 6 hours of back and forth, and then they drop the price like, oh, actually, we can't afford it. So what's the point of all this?
It's mad, isn't it? Because surely for them as well, that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Some of the guys do it really well, right? I know what you're talking. Because we've just rebuilt the marketplace, and on there we're putting pricing on now.
I think that helps.
And we really struggle to find pricing for all of our partners. So if you're all listening, which most of you are normally, if you can just display some pricing, that'd be really useful because people like Tommy will just say, "Oh, that's okay, we can afford that," or "Oh, no, we don't want that."
Exactly.
And then it will save everyone's time.
Yeah, and I think if I had to
one
last one,
Jesus,
I think actively and proactively keeping in touch with the clients and customers, keeping on the pulse, understanding are they happy, are they using the tech properly, so you get feedback on hands of what's working, what's not working, why it's not working, is it just a training issue, can we make it better? Because a lot of things I'm hearing, during networking events and things like that, is that people are building frustration over a product that is not solving the issue that they were sold you would fix, or just because it's either not set up properly, not being used properly, or they're not getting the support from the vendor to kind of solve those issues.
Yeah, Brendan said he phoned his suppliers every month, maybe. He had a regular call in every month, but that's him.
I have a call on a weekly basis.
Really?
Yeah, I keep on it. Sometimes you don't have anything to talk about, and it's a 5 minutes call.
Maybe it was weekly. But he's talking to them regularly like you.
I've got 4 calls every single week with 4 different key providers that we're using, just to make sure that things are moving in the direction we want, make sure that development requests we have requested are actually happening. Obviously, I'm fortunate to work for Honest Burgers. We got 39 locations, 800 plus people, so I've got a little bit more weight, luckily for me, than some of the
so if you're a single site and like you've got problems.
You have no voice, but those guys they should be able to have a platform to...
I agree, because I think if you can sell... Because one of the great things about tech is if you're very small, you can get access to enterprise tech now, right? You can get great tech for a single location, do some really cool things like you guys do with 40 sites. But it shouldn't stop there, right? It shouldn't just flip say, oh, well, you're not Honest Burger, so we can't give you the support you provide. And they won't need as much support as you because they're only one site. So it just needs that all-round customer service thing. And I said at the start of this year, someone said, someone asked me about New Year, what will be the big thing in tech this year? And I actually said customer support is huge, because tech's so good and at a level that actually quite a lot of people have got great product now. There's there's slight differences between the suppliers, and they'll all argue there's bigger differences. But tech is so great that actually it comes down to how good a company you are, how good you are at support, how much you look after your customers, and how much you market and brand yourselves and all the good stuff. So it's moving away from product almost to the whole buying piece, where you're looking at support and what kind of wraparound is there for people like you when you need help. Thank you. That was a party political broadcast on behalf of Tech on Toast.
and people talk in the industry. Even if
Yeah.
you have 1 or 2 locations, they're
100%.
usually part of bigger groups or part
everybody
of,
knows.
of a community. And once you start hearing negative things about a specific provider, you're not going to go there because you won't get any
And
support.
the worrying thing for that provider is they don't even know. Because you don't even get to the point where you're telling them you're not coming. You
No,
just
you're
don't
just
even.
leaving.
You just voting with your feet. So yeah, churn is bad. So yeah, but I think it's really cool, right? And I think I agree with you. Pricing, transparency, and support. There we go. And demos. The demo thing's great. I think that's such a cool idea.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, and I'm sure it exists, right? It's just maybe it's a cost thing. Who knows? We'll find out. Please send in your answers on Spotify.
The most common excuse I have is that, it's a demo portal we all use for sales and things like that. It needs to be reset every single time. And if I'm in the middle of a demo, we're going to see you moving things around. It's not going to look good.
Yeah, but just give you a slot, right? Give me a slot where I can go and play.
Yeah.
So I want to work on it Friday, 4 a.m. till 6 a.m. None of you are on then. So let me have a play then. Right, let's wrap this madness up. Right, if tech, I've got a question for you. I don't know why I put this in. I think I must have been drinking. If tech was a movie, what would you call it and why? And I put in brackets, Titanic.
You totally put that questionnaire during your holiday, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah. You WhatsApp me, where's my questionnaire when I'm doing it now? Anyway.
I came up with Minority Report. You've seen it?
Yeah. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So he's a cop, and he has a way basically to see in the future and to arrest people before they actually commit crime. And the reason why I've chosen that movie is because of AI and everything that AI helps. So obviously I've mentioned Tenzo. I'm not here to sell it either, but
Christian, I'll just let you know, Christian's just outside the glass here, so, praying.
But platform like them reporting and inside that helps you to first make sense of all the data you have, on understanding, kind of highlight trends. Your sales are going up, your sales are going down. This specific dish is selling more in this specific period and things like that. Your labor is going up and down. So being able to understand trends and understand and predict what will happen. So now you got AI assisted forecast for sales in covers.
Yeah, they've just. Do you use Tenzo or not? Is it one of your products?
I don't know.
Right, they've just released.
Christian, I've been trying to sell it for 2.5 years.
Don't worry, he's nearly there.
And
he's mentioned you 3 times.
We just became mates after a while, but
I can see.
I'm not an actual customer.
I can see you two getting on actually. But they've just released Wizard.
Yeah,
which is Tenzo Wizard, which is the that is AI backed, right? That is doing what you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah. So helping you to predict before shit happens, basically. Yeah. So
maybe they should just put that on the website. Just
helps you predict before shit happens.
Before the shit hits the fan, use Tenzo.
No, but understanding you're a bit busier this week. You might be, you might have under order for the rest of the week or something like that, or your sales are not coming through as you expected. So you're looking.
I think the early warning signals
exactly.
is what tech is going to be really interesting in that, and that's why Titanic's actually good because they had an iceberg, and if they had AI, they may have known the iceberg was coming, right? Maybe not. I don't think I'll ask this question again. But I think it went quite well. You had a good answer. Look, Tommy, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming down, and thanks, Christian, behind the curtain there. This is sponsored by Tenzo and Lightspeed. But thank you very much. If people want to get hold of you and just kind of pick your brains, because I think you've got a fantastic attitude towards both hospitality and the way you run projects and kind of look after your tech. I think,
I mean, tech is managed by people. It's still a people job.
Yeah.
I still deal with people on a daily basis. I don't deal with AI or robots.
Yet.
Yes.
It's coming. But yeah, so how do people get hold of you if they want to speak to you? Can they just message you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah,
no email. There
it's
you go.
Tommy Giraux and not Tommy Tech.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I might change
if you
it
don't
after.
You could just put Tommy bracket Tech Giraux, like a pronoun.
Yeah. My middle name is Tech. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Very cool. Look, thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. And we will see you all again next week. Tommy, say bye to the camera up there. Look, just here. There you go. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
mate.